The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
You are listening to Live and Let Live on the Logos Radio Network. I'm Gary Johnson. We are talking with Christopher Earl Strunk. He is a pro se litigant in Brooklyn, New York. And as he has been explaining to us, he has been to court many times on the various issues, in particular challenging the eligibility of Barack Obama to be president and the eligibility of John McCain to be president, in particular because of the requirement in Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States, which requires that the president must be a natural-born citizen. And Christopher, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and I know you're in the middle of a narrative here, but you made news recently because author Schack, whom you don't seem to respect that much, said that you have to pay $177,000 in attorney's fees and also with sanctions. Basically, you're ordered to pay $167,707 in attorney's fees plus a $10,000 sanction on this case that you are describing to us. And I wanted to ask you what your reaction is to being suddenly told you have to pay so much in attorney's fees in this case.
Well, personally, I think it's a piking amount. Listen, there were 9 attorneys. There were attorneys that get $900 an hour. There were. I had Peter Peterson's attorney put in it. He got $82,000. Zbigniew Brzezinski's whole family, who I sued, I didn't sue Mia. She's a piker, but that they came in with 78, I think. And the state, who didn't even show up, They put in a bill for almost $7,000. Now,
so I want to ask you about this, Christopher.
Six of the 9 attorneys, including Obama's attorneys with Pelosi, Boehner's attorney, McCain's attorney, George Soros's attorney, and 2 other attorneys, including Roger Calero, who is the Nicaraguan-born candidate for the Socialist Workers Party, who was on the ballot. And the state, in fact, allowed this to be, and they changed the instructions midway through the whole process, committing the crime. And that if they were to have answered, I would have crucified them paper-wise, so that they made a deal with the judge that they didn't have to come and answer. And I had sued every single party that had endorsed their specific candidate. None of them came in. There was a deal, sweetheart deal, that Strunk gets the pike and everybody else walks. So the point is they're interested in chilling speech. But 6 of the attorneys,
well, let me ask you. I want to ask you something here, Christopher.
Enter money.
Chris, I want to ask you something here.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's interesting how you approach this. I guess about a month or 2 ago, we interviewed Richard Sanders of the Washington State Supreme Court, who was helping Linda Jordan, who faced a kind of a similar situation. She's filed a lawsuit in the state of Washington, and she was told to pay $13,000 in court costs. And she was very upset about this. She said that was way too much, and she didn't think she should have to pay any court costs at all. And Richard Sanders actually got that brought down to under $3,000 because the state had exaggerated the amount. And by the way, for people who are wondering what happened, that is what happened. The amount that Linda Jordan was ordered to pay was reduced. But it seems to me, Christopher, that your reaction is you feel that the amount that should have been you should pay should be like more, and you're insulted the amount is so low. Did I get that right? I'm totally insulted. But at the same time, if this had been a civil jury of attorneys, it was 6 to 3 that there shouldn't be any fine. It was that 6 high-level international law firms did not put their numbers in, even though they were ordered by the judge to do so. And he was so upset, he waited a year before putting in the judgment because he realized that he was being hung out to dry. He's been hung out to dry
so many times. Matter, one of the attorneys said to me, he said, well, Chris, if you win, even though you owe us X number of dollars, if you win, we win, because I thought it was okay to practice in Brooklyn. And he essentially had been castigated by the judge, and basically this judge needs to be removed from the bench, and I'm working on that. That's what I specialize in. I removed Thomas Spargo from the bench, and he was put in prison. He was the guy that ran the Hanging Chad operation down in the 2000 down in Miami during the recount, and for the Republican Party. I mean, look, if the attorneys essentially are ordered to put in money, and I came in as a fee-paying plaintiff, and I was called frivolous because I said that Obama, by admission, was not a natural-born citizen. And the judge said that was frivolous. That was frivolous and had no merit. So the point is that I need to get before the appellate court, and now I have a final judgment. In other words, without a final judgment, the order for there being a hearing on whether or not I should get a final judgment is merely interlocutory. And I filed a notice of appeal on that, but finally I have a final judgment. But my concern here, Gary, is that the judge's intent was to chill speech around the country, and that Linda Jordan is, in fact, she has been injured by what Judge Schack did.
So I wanted to clarify that, Christopher, even though, and I guess there are two things going on here, and I want to separate them and make them clear. On the one hand, the idea that Linda Jordan or you should be slapped with these sanctions and these court costs and attorney's fees is, as you put it, it has a chilling effect. It intimidates people from going to court and getting their day in court. On the other hand, you're saying that if all of these attorneys, all 9 of these attorneys, had sent in an accounting for how much their work was worth, supposedly, it would have been more than $177,000. Only a couple of the attorneys sent in bills, and the other attorneys, if they were worth as much, the amount would have been much higher. So there are two separate issues here. Is that right?
Well, there's a number of issues, but certainly the fact that the judge based his judgment of frivolity upon me having the temerity to come in and claim that Obama was not natural born because he had a British subject father is at the heart of this. And I'd like to expound on that if you'd like.
Right. I do. I want you to expound on it. I do want to get out of the way this $177,000 thing. The thing that attracted, of course, as you know, a lot of attention is you just called author Schack a political hack. He had a few choice words for you. He said that you were fanciful, delusional, and irrational. How do you respond to that?
If by Obama's own admission that he has a British subject father, that by my claiming that he is not a natural-born citizen, that somehow I am delusional, then that guy is the guy that's got to have his head checked.
Mm-hmm. Is it proper for a judge to use that kind of language in a written opinion?
Oh, you don't know the half of this judge. This judge got so angry at one of the attorneys for one of the defendants in another case, he got the guy's picture, painted a bullseye on it, and put an arrow on it and hung it in the hallway of the court.
This is a judge?
This is
Really?
the judge. And when the appellate court said, well, you made a big, you know, what the hell were you doing? The judge says, I was just making fun. And I says, I don't want to recuse myself. I'll give him a fair treatment. That's what the judge said to the appellate court. Just to show you Brooklyn, okay? This is Brooklyn, where Charles Hines let somebody go away for 25 years in prison based upon false accusations and exculpatory evidence. He just got out and had a heart attack. This is Brooklyn. Brooklyn is corrupt. I'm telling you, people who go to people who go to Brooklyn Law and get a law degree don't want to practice here.
We are talking with Christopher Earl Strunk of Brooklyn, New York. and he's telling us about his brush with the corrupt system. You can find out more about him by going to his website, www.strunk.ws. That's strunk.ws.
Well, Gary,
Her people with something to hide.